Sorry I never got back with you, but you know this me, David. You could say, tell the people what you want to tell them. Just tell them the recidivism rate is crazy because it's built to send somebody out there messed up mentally, financially, emotionally, the wreck. Used to guards torment you, police torment you, everybody treat it's like new age slavery. Treat you like second-rate person, not like a human. Then you expect a person to come out and act humane when he was under inhumane conditions. We the top people in the country for people incarcerated. We're supposed to be all about freedom, but we already know it's a thin line. It's black and white, and then it's blue. But the white and blue go together. The black always alone.
Out of the many site visits and interviews I've had with my LMR colleagues and my criminal justice immersion group, 2 had the biggest impact on me. One was Boaz and Ruth, and the other was the Real Life Community Center. The Real Life Community Center was because of Dr. Scarborough's zeal and enthusiasm and passion for helping people to integrate back into society and be successful. For Boaz and Ruth, I love their collaborative approach and working with the people in Highland Park to rebuild and enhance their community. My goal is to learn who, how, what, and whom is willing to expand their level of influence and connect with the people in power who are willing to discuss and change the laws that will truly demonstrate justice for us all.
I participated in one day of the City of Richmond Police Department's Crisis Intervention Team training. CIT training is intended to educate first responders on the resources available to them to deal with situations involving mental health crises of varying degrees. Over the course of the day, we visited a few key institutions. What I found was that for many of our citizens, the justice system plays a critical role in, and many times is the only option for, treating mental health, especially for those who otherwise can't afford it. However, this is often by default, not by design. The people I met showed me that there is a very real, vigorous, and genuine effort within our city to help those with mental health issues. So I'm optimistic, but we have a long way to go before we can say that we are meeting their needs.
As part of the criminal justice team, I was given the opportunity to go through the Milo simulation experience, which is a training simulator used by law enforcement for the Police Department Training Academy. It was an eye-opening experience for me as I realized the depth of knowledge an officer must have about the law, techniques, and de-escalation strategies needed when responding to a situation, and how challenging it can be to consider all these details where a quick reaction and a decision is required in a possible life or death situation. I gained knowledge about some of our misperceptions surrounding the use of weapons by the police, and I have a greater respect for how difficult it can be in this line of work every day.
All of these people that we interviewed described the system that they work within as flawed, largely because they have to enforce our attitudes as society that treats the symptom of crime as crimes themselves. So, for example, we have decided to make drug issues criminal issues as opposed to a health issue or poverty. Up until this year, in the state of Virginia, it only took stealing $200 to be labeled a felon. So take a moment to look at your belongings around you and think how quickly and easily it would be to reach $200. So for stealing that, which could be a stupid decision by a kid or just a decision felt by someone out of necessity to survive, we as a society have called them a felon and put up a hurdle that is nearly impossible to clear to be able to get benefits, housing, jobs, and the list goes on for them to get out of the situation that they're in.
I was particularly moved during our immersion project by the incredible barriers that face those who have been incarcerated. Many simple elements of life become insurmountable obstacles after serving time, such as acquiring a cell phone, transportation, finding a job, a place to live, having the right to vote. These are major impediments that build upon one another and drive people back into unfavorable situations. That, combined with a dearth of treatment for mental health and substance use, contribute vastly to perpetuating the cycle of crime. I'm committed to contributing to organizations that reduce barriers for those integrating back into society after incarceration. Every one of these stories is a person. These organizations recognize the human element and measure success on improving lives one at a time. This inspires me.
One of the things I completely missed over the time that I've been learning has been the role that the prosecutors have in general, the power that they have. It wasn't until I read the report that was given to us by the ACLU of Virginia, Unparalleled Power. It came out in 2016, and they broke down all of the things that a Commonwealth's attorney is responsible for. The person who would have the most power in deciding the outcome if me or my family members or my friends were charged with a crime, I had no idea who that person was. And so through this experience, I got on the computer and I actually looked that up. I found out who my Commonwealth's attorney was in Chesterfield County, realized that that individual had been in the role for 29 years, which is a long amount of time. And I know that there's an election coming up, which I didn't know before. These elections run every 4 years. I have some questions now that I'm going to be able to ask. I want to be able to learn about the person that's representing my community, ask them these questions, and really educate my family and friends that they need to know who their Commonwealth's attorney is and to know the things about how their role impacts the system that we live in.
One of the most memorable moments for me was during an interview with a federal judge. We were sitting in his chambers, and here's a man who has a significant amount of experience at all levels within the criminal justice system and who wields tremendous authority, who told our group that the criminal justice system is only but marginally effective at best. That was a very powerful moment for me, and I certainly admire his honesty. I don't think any of us were expecting someone in his position or of his stature to share that with us. There are a lot of great people and organizations doing good work in these areas already. Unfortunately, they're only able to make incremental progress. Much of this has to do with overlap of service, people operating in silos, and quite frankly, money. The funding is finite, and everyone is competing for the same funds. This, I think, contributes to the incremental progress that only makes us marginally effective. And I think we have to find a better way of doing business where we can integrate a lot of these services.
One of the takeaways or things that I really wanted to get out of this project is to figure out why are we spending so much time, energy, money, and other resources being reactive to crime. I get it. The more crime that's committed, the bigger jails and prisons we may need. But I also get that these people have needs. We need to find them and we need to meet them. There are tons of organizations in our region who have the same mission and the same vision. They want to rehabilitate these people who are career criminals, and they want to focus on recidivism. But I would say to them, let's play nicer in the sandbox. We have got to address miscommunication, and it's important that we possibly eliminate the bureaucracy that is affecting our community. We have to give a voice to the people who are often overlooked, who are invisible to our community, until they do something to someone. So I say, what is our challenge going to be? How are we going to be accountable? How are we going to be holding ourselves responsible for this big issue?
I really try to approach it with an open mind and putting myself in the other person's shoes and looking at it from a viewpoint of compassion and mercy. When you have two people that commit the exact same crime and receive different sentences, or worse yet, the two people that commit the same crime, one is charged and one is not, there's a problem there. So our group's going to share with you a lot of resources to allow you to investigate this topic further, which I encourage you to do. We don't think that we can solve the problem of criminal justice. It reaches its tentacles into a lot of issues that Richmond has, from homelessness to transportation to affordable housing to drug use. But we do hope that, with a better understanding of the impact criminal justice has, it'll push us to make better decisions in those areas where we do have the power of change.
Wow, what an amazing journey we have had. We have learned so much about the criminal justice system in the city of Richmond and surrounding counties. And what we have found is we have to start by looking for the root cause. We have found that 3 problems are most prevalent in the area: poverty, mental health, and homelessness. And together, we can work and change this.